Hey, aloha, Soul Fam. Welcome to our end of days, and that's DAZE. So, from my previous video, I'm just going to kind of continue off because there's this other aspect which needs to be addressed, and I love how it's being addressed through other creators, other individuals too. I'm going to give a shout out to a YouTube channel that I watch. Her name is Marina. Marina Karlova. I'll have the link in the description too. And if you just want to know it, type it in yourself. It's the @ sign and then Marina with an underscore and then Karlova. I mean, it's how it's spelled. Look at the description if you want to know how it's spelled. But it sounds what it is. But I think this is very important to understand and not what I'm suggesting. I agree with her, I guess is the best way to say it. And this is what I mean with the one absolute as well. All right, that this actually fuels and gives the foundation to what Marina's talking about and how this needs to be addressed. Excuse me. So, in the previous video, what I had is chirality and the chiral handshake, the union, the marriage between the feminine and the masculine, and what this means, and how in chirality you can't shake your own hand, right? First, you have to flip it. And then this is how you end up creating the handshake. All right. And so what I am talking about, this marriage between these two apparent dualities is not the same thing as embracing parasitism. All right. This is very important to understand and not what I'm talking about at all. And I know that people can manipulate what I'm saying and basically say whatever they're going to do. But I'm just qualifying for, the people who really are seeking with an honest heart, who enjoy my material and they want to hear my thoughts on this as well. And so this is what I mean by this. In order for parasitism to exist, there needs to be war. There needs to be the war in order for the parasitism to exist. And on another video, I'll try to have some drawings because drawings always help. The visual aid I feel like is super helpful. Verbalizing stuff is good, and watching me in my face, my energy is probably fun. But having some visual aid, super important. So I'm on the way there. You guys. So I'll explain what I mean by this. And so in the previous video I have the chiral handshake, which is we're in union together. We're in marriage together between the hemispheres of the brain, between the masculine and the feminine, between the objective world and the subjective world. That this is the union, and this creates health. This creates cohesion. This creates awareness. All right. This allows the format for a healthy body, a healthy mind, where one can be genuine and authentic, because the rules are, dare I say, non-existent. We realize that we are agreeing and we're making up the rules as we go along. With that said, there still is law. There still are things that it doesn't matter whether or not I agree upon it or not. Because yes, there are agreements that we create, but there's also things that are beyond agreement. And this feeds into the one absolute, all right? Rules that we make up are important, but they're made up, all right? And they're going to help create our reality. On the other side, yes, there are things which are essentially inviolable, all right? And we can try to hijack or get around it or circumnavigate certain things, but it's not going to work. It's just not going to work because that is what it is, all right? And this leads into and feeds and shows the one absolute that I'm going to keep talking about over and over and over. And so playing into this, going more into this, parasitism is like an extremely important thing to be aware of at this point in our time. And so when we do not have that marriage, when we do not have that cohesion, we're in a disempowered state and we're at war with ourselves. We're at war with God. We're at war with our own bodies. We're at war with our own minds. And so that energy needs to go somewhere, all right? And in the middle of fighting with ourselves, we open ourselves up to disease. We open ourselves up to the parasitism. And this is what I'm talking about, all right? This is what I'm talking about. And this is what essentially, from my interpretation, this is what Marina's talking about as well. And so there's a very important, I'm not saying to handshake the parasitical energy, because essentially in doing that, you're actually at war with yourself still. And so this is what I mean by this, all right? This is what I'm explaining for this situation, is that when I'm talking about this handshake and this integration, this cohesion between the hemispheres of the brain, between the apparent polarities of existence, this is not what I'm saying, all right? And that the parasitical energy, it appears to be in competition or I can't think of the right word. All right, you've got to forgive me, you guys. But it appears to be the other polarity, and this is I would say not true, and it's a twisting of the truth. It's using polarity and then twisting it. All right, because when we embrace the polarity, when we truly embrace, when see the polarity for what it is, not a good and a bad, but a feminine and a masculine, when we have that handshake between that, what we're creating is health. What we're creating is understanding, authenticity, truth, all right, love. That's what the handshake's all about, all right? However, there appears to be this other energy, and so when we're at war with ourselves, there is this dualistic approach. There's this dualistic understanding, all right? And this is also what people say when they like it's a lower vibrational energy. What that means is that we don't have the capacity, or we're not seeing things in earnest. We're not seeing things authentically. Well, words are what they are, but rather than see things as they are, we're seeing things as we want them to be. And when we're doing it from that level, it's usually I want to be right. I want to be right, or even in the other situation where it's just like it's self-degradation, which is the equal opposite side of that coin. And kind of explaining that, going into that further, if we elevate ourselves above things, we're simultaneously lowering ourselves below things, all right? And so, and this is what creates that duality, all right? And that there's different ways to experience this, all right? Because as many probably psychological people understand, if I'm acting from an egotistical place and I'm putting other people down, it's because I'm insecure, all right? And it's because I feel lower than other people, and I'm trying to masquerade or put on masks so that and then position myself above other people, so that I'm not below other people like I really feel like. And then what is that? All right, that's exactly what I'm talking about. This is the lack of understanding of the one absolute. Because when we have that understanding, when we have that cohesion, I don't want to place myself above other people, because I understand that's also showing that I think I'm below other people too, and I don't want to be underneath people, because then I'm above other people too, and it ends up being a very psychological, we'll just call it a mind fuck, right? We'll call it a mind fuck, all right, because this is the parasitical programming that Marina's talking about too. Like, part of Christianity, what it's done, which I think is horrible. It's totally horrible, you guys. Which is I'm going to lower myself below God, below other people, and be of subservience, and then this makes me better than other people. And do you see the mind fuck about this? All right, when we're lowering ourselves so that we can be above other people, it's still the disparity, you guys. It's still the disparity, and that's not what Christ wants. All right, that's not the Christ will for us. All right, as the body of Christ. All right, we are to have this handshake. This is what Christ, not only asks of us, but has for us. All right, this is what God has for us. There's many different ways to say it. Then these are just words. All right, coming out of my mouth. Read the energy behind what I'm saying here, and this is the wanting to be right over being happy. All right, and that we got to see that being happy is also in being correct as well. This is the handshake. All right, I don't want to treat my feelings above, my subjective feelings above the objective truth, nor do I want to place the objective truth above my feelings. All right, this is what the handshake means. And in order to keep going in with this, when we don't have that handshake, that's when we're open to parasitical thought forms, we're open to parasitical systems, and we perpetuate that parasitism, essentially. And this is what, from my interpretation, this is what she's talking about. All right, you guys, this is why it's very important to not misconstrue what I'm saying. And I don't know about Young. I'll even link her video that she just came out with recently, because that's a very real thing that she's talking about. All right, and so we can even take the truth and we can twist it around so that it actually is not the truth anymore. It's a disparity where it's creating this imbalance, a balance in the force. I like Star Wars. I'm sorry, I can't help it. The legacy Star Wars, I should say. So to kind of touch upon this, I'm going to keep this like a 15-minute video if I can. All right, if I can. But what's very important is that there are entities out there who have cashed in their understanding for parasitism. And so they only see the world in this disparity. And they truly believe and see and think things in the way that this disparity, this duality is existence. And so they are living in what I frame as ignorance, all right? And so they have adopted themselves as parasites. And so they intentionally, through ignorance, all right, this is what Jesus means when he says, "Forgive them, Father, they know not what they do." All right, they are acting and creating their role as parasites. And by doing so, to quickly explain this, because I'm trying to keep this down, right? When we have this handshake, we receive mana. We receive energy from God. We are creating this toroidal field that is empowering us. It is our own energy. It is the energy outside, like the inward-outward energy. We're breathing, essentially. However, these parasitical entities that have gotten into this kind of dynamic, when they're acting out of this ignorance, they're not breathing anymore. All right, they're essentially, they've stopped breathing. They're not, or they've chosen one side, breathing in all the time or breathing out all the time. And think less on that, all right? But this is what I mean when I say parasitical, okay? When they have stopped breathing, all right? This is what it means to be dead, to be spiritually dead too. They still require energy to function. So where does that energy come from? It comes from people who are somewhat cohesive, but not cohesive all the way, not with true awareness, not with true understanding, because, and this is the layers of reality too. People who are kind of in ignorance, and they're sometimes, there's little brushes. They're trying to understand. They're not there. They're dealing with the parasitical energy essentially, and the parasitical programming, which is telling them to act in a certain way. But they're still somewhat connected. They're still breathing. All right. And so they have energy coming into them. And then these parasitical energies who have stopped breathing, they harvest that extra energy. That's essentially would be going to waste otherwise. All right. And, in the world, in the format, nothing goes to waste. This is why it's so important to create this handshake in one's personal life, in one's community, in one's collective and individual field, because this drives out parasitism, where you deny it. You're like, nope, not. You can't take my energy, because guess what? All of my energy is being used. It's being used by me. All right, I'm claiming my energy, and I'm using this energy, this God-given energy, which is protected then. And since I'm using it and I'm claiming it and I'm seeing it for what it is, it's protected energy. And negative programming is going to immediately come to the forefront and be able to be released and forgiven, because we can feel it and sense it, because we're using both sides of our hemispheres. We're using both sides of our brain, and in doing that, it's almost naturally forgiven, because we're just like, I don't like how this feels, what you're telling me, from a heart level, from that basis. And because there's that cohesion, and that we're now knowing that the truth and love are part of the same coin, and that with this cohesion, we automatically deny parasitism. And so I'm going to go a little bit over. I'm probably going to go 20 minutes for this one, just because I want to keep going with this particular thought. Those who are double down in the parasitical energy, the best way to bring them into the life, the light, the truth, to real life, to get them breathing again, is to deny them that energy. All right, and you deny them that energy by claiming your own energy. All right, this is what I mean with the handshake. All right, when we create that handshake within ourselves, between the hemispheres of our brain, between the polarities within ourselves, we are cementing our energy. We are protecting our energy. And it's not even like through this aggressive protection. We don't need to do that. It's just like, I'm protected. All right. This is the beauty of this kind of a format, and why I also think there's, as much as I talk about Christianity and I love it, there's also forms of it and interpretations of it which are disempowering, and that needs to be addressed. That absolutely needs to be addressed. This is what has driven me away from a lot of Christianity to begin with, was because people were essentially externalizing God, making God something that was outside of them, and then there's this misunderstanding between what God is. All right, and that's another subject for another video, where it's just like, yes, to a certain degree, there's a mystery in God. God's unknowable in the way where I can't, like, the best way to put it for my interpretation is just like, as much as I'm saying, as much as I understand, I am this subjective being. All right, I am this subjective being looking at a big objective world, right? And I'm part of this, and I'm unified with this handshake. I feel this more through my heart than anything else, and I feel and I know it's just like, oh, God's got me. Everything's okay. I'm not outside of this format, is the best way to say it. I'm within this format, and I'm loved. I'm loved. There's different ways to say it, and that's what this is about, you guys. That's what this is about, and that the parasitical energy, the best way to help these individuals who are stuck in this ignorance is to starve them. And you don't starve them by denying them love. All right, you see them accurately. You see them for what they are, and you create this handshake within oneself. All right, I would say, and this is how we move forward when we create a cohesive individual, and then those individuals are able to group together and they create a cohesive community. This is the pattern starting to create itself, starting to have a way where these parasites will be starved. All right, and here's the beauty of this. All right, these entities who have claimed themselves as parasites, that's just a role. All right, that's just a role. Anyone who has targeted me, all right, let's just say it like that. Any of these parasitical energies which has targeted me, who believe that they are the parasite, you're not. All right, that's a role that you've been playing, and that the moment that you're done playing this disparity game, all right, draining other people's energy, if you're exhausted with that, if you're exhausted hurting yourself, all right, you can let that go. You can start to create this handshake that I'm talking about. You can start to breathe again. This is what the Christ means in this way. He can bring back the dead. All right, this reconciliation. Christ is the reconciliation between the hemispheres. This is what it means. This is what it means. Jazz hands, you guys. Jazz hands. This is what it means. And I'm going to keep talking about this stuff. All right. And so, thank you for watching my material, you guys. I'm super excited to keep making this. All right. So definitely check out Marina's channel. She has a lot of good, I would say, excellent intellectual stuff, but she also has a balanced heart side as well. You kind of got to read into it as well. At least my interpretation of it. So I know I'm trying to get better at this stuff, plugging this, because it'll help me, you guys. I'm still a human being. I'm struggling getting out of homelessness. So if you like my material, like it. All right. If you want to see more of it, subscribe, and that'll help motivate me, right, to keep making more, and maybe I'll be able to do this more often. So and then I'll stop looking at I can get better cameras, and I can just start doing this better. Anyway, I love you guys. Thank you for being here with me and sharing this with me. And this is how we drive out the parasite. This is how we do this, and that there's room for everybody. Everybody can be on board with this, all right? And that it's not up to us. So all we can do is take care of ourselves in this way. So anyway, that's it. Love you guys. Peace out. love within, and catch you guys on the flip side.